Lori here from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. You're listening to the Expecting Aerialist podcast. I'm really excited to share with you guys that I've just released my new ebook, Understanding Aerial Silks, on Amazon. It's up for pre-sale right now. It will be coming out July 1st. It's designed to be a companion to your training for those looking for a deeper meaning to the basic instruction given in a class setting. And I have a really special gift for my podcast listeners. There is a link in the show notes. Go ahead and click that, and you'll get the ebook for free. I just wanted to send a lot of love and appreciation to this specific community. So I hope you guys take advantage of that, and let me know how you feel about the book. Okay, so today on the pod, I've been listening to these podcasts, and between really tough fourth trimesters and ripping fingers off and shattering pelvises and deep dive into anatomy and neuromuscular connections and just super detailed and deep stuff, I just feel like it's been a bit heavy lately, and I wanted to bring some levity to the pod, some lightness, some laughs. So I've invited my good friends Sarah Romanowsky and Meredith Ostrowsky to talk about their funniest, scariest, most embarrassing, and just ridiculous gig stories. So, let's have a light day on the podcast today, and let's get started. Today's episode, I thought it would be really fun to talk about either the funniest, most embarrassing, scariest, or how many things can I think about at one time while I'm in the air type of stories. And Sarah has been on the pod now twice. She is definitely a regular, and Mare hopefully is a regular too. She's got a lot of exciting things coming up, and maybe she'll be back on the pod later on for some other stories. But yeah, these are just my homies. And
happy birthday, Care.
Oh, it's my birthday.
I know this won't be dropped on your birthday, but it's recorded on your birthday.
It's recorded on my birthday, and it is a little bit wah-wah because I just got my second Moderna vaccine on Thursday.
Yay.
That's great, but I got my ass handed to me.
Boo.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I'll get lucky. Nope. On the floor, shivering and hot at the same time.
Sucks.
And was laying on the wood floor because it was more comfortable than the bed.
Eek.
Because, you know what I'm saying? And then I had to teach a class last night, and I called the studio manager. I was like, is there a sub? She's like, well, let me see. So I think she probably called all of you guys, and no one was available. It's not very easy to get a sub nowadays because we have such a small staff compared to what we used to have because of COVID. And then we're all teaching 5 classes anyway.
Totally.
Yeah. So I was like, plan B, Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol. So I ate a bunch of Tylenol, and it worked.
It's a godsend.
It's a godsend. Okay. So Mare.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your first time on the podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm excited to be here celebrating your birthday remotely, or the beginning of your birthday month.
Yeah, the beginning of it. So me and Mare have been, we've all been friends for over 10 years now. But I met Mare first because we did this job called Le Flot d'Essence.
Oui, oui. Yes.
And it was a French cabaret show, and Mare got hired as the backup aerialist for Rach. Maybe
my first ever silks job. Fun fact.
Yeah. You're backup for Rach. I didn't know that. That's cool.
And then me and Mare, we're kind of the same height, so we get put as bookends on all the jobs.
Yes.
Yay.
And so let's start today's roundup. So let's see, Sarah,
Yes.
What do you have a story that you'd like to share with us? And what category would it be under? Scary, funny, embarrassing?
I mean, I have several. Do you want an Ariel story? Do you want a showgirl story?
I think we want Ariel's story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. I did a job a few years back where we had to start in hammocks, like 50 feet in the air, but above where anyone at the event could see us.
50 feet's a lot of height.
But we weren't performing that high. We just had to hang out there, literally.
So you're like in a proscenium?
We're in a large convention.
Oh, okay,
hall.
like an arena-ish.
Yeah, it was totally like a special event, a corporate. We're in the air, like kind of above where anyone can see us. And the whole thing is like, the hammocks opened up. So it's like a bed. So it's like, okay, you just have to lay there for like half an hour. And then when the music starts and the show starts, then you're lowered and then you start performing. It was fine, but what was funny to me was the backstory. I was totally fine, but the backstory of like what was going on with all the other performers in the moment, like we were wearing all white in white hammocks, and apparently one of the aerialists started their period.
Oh man, I knew you were going to say so. I was like, did somebody pee? What happened?
I mean, it ended up fine. She was so scared the whole time.
Oh my God, I would have panicked.
Totally. Yeah, like amazing timing. And then I think one of the other aerialists like fell asleep by accident.
What?
So I'm like, how do you do that? It's kind of like those people who sleep on the sides of mountains when they're rock climbing. I'm like, how do you do that? I don't get it. And then someone else was having like an emotional moment, was crying in their hammock. I was just sitting there because we're all far apart. We can't like.
How many hammocks were like?
I think there were like 4 of us.
Oh, and probably really spread out because it's a big.
Totally spread out. Yeah. But the whole time I was like, do. I'm just sitting here like completely unaware of like what everyone else is going through.
So one started their period, one fell asleep, and then one was having an emotional attack.
One was crying, and I don't remember why.
It's amazing.
I mean, it was just one of those days. But again, I was fine. I was just like, I'm just hanging out. I mean, that's pretty much the whole story. I just thought it was a funny moment.
That's a funny moment. Okay, yeah, let's go for kind of funny. I have a kind of funny one. And it's a short one. So we'll just kind of go around the circle and hopefully it'll become something interesting. So I feel like we all used to work at the supper club at some point. Did you guys?
For sure.
Okay.
No, but I worked at other clubs.
Right. Okay. So supper club was special because it was this big open space club, and they had, I think Chobe rigged it. I think. And the rigging came from the middle of the club in the ceiling, and you would be dropped down. You wouldn't have to go on the floor or anything to do it. The club is now something else. It got sold, whatever. But I worked there many, many times, and the most common night, I would drop down for my last set. It's 1:30 a.m., you guys. I don't know about you, but it's hard to do aerial at 1:30 a.m. at night. And by that time in the night, you would get descended into a literal cloud of weed.
Nice.
The whole place was smoking, and smoke rises. And so I would just be dropped in my hammock or silk, like into like a cloud of weed. And side note, I fucking hate the smell of weed.
Really?
And then you're inhaling the smoke. So
did you have a good reaction to it though?
Like, did I get a contact high?
Yeah, at least. Right?
Yeah.
You guys, this is kind of weird, but I've never smoked weed, so I don't know what that feels like.
Oh.
I've never wanted to.
Is this what
either.
you say for the podcast?
Yeah.
No. Like,
direction now.
No. And on in another note, I told the ladies, because it's my birthday, that I was going to have a margarita while we were doing this, but then I got too lazy and I haven't made it yet. Because I make them myself, and it takes me like a half an hour. It's a craft cocktail. No, I don't like the smell of weed. So like I would like try not to breathe. And I don't know. I might have gotten a contact high, but I don't know.
See, if it were me, I get paranoid.
Yeah.
So it would have gotten real bad. It would have gone downhill real fast.
Like paranoid, and then what is next after
hear
that?
noises. I think people are like out to get me. I create conspiracies in my mind. So I'm glad I didn't experience that.
I mean, that place was like a very interesting culture.
Yeah.
Of people and things. So anyways, that's my getting dropped into a cloud of weed. Mara, do you have one for funniest?
Yeah, well, I feel like most of mine are funny and ridiculous, but these stories are reminding me. Well, first of all, I think you could do a whole podcast on working in clubs and how crazy and horrific that is.
Totally.
Yes.
Sidebar. But these stories are reminding me, total U-turn, but the hanging in the rafters moment. I worked for the LA Opera. This was like 2008, and I was hired to be a vision of the Virgin Mary coming down from the ceiling.
That's
at
awesome.
the very end of this opera.
How appropriate, right?
I know, like smoking weed, Virgin Mary. Yeah. And
I love it.
But it was a similar thing, Sarah, when you were talking about the waiting. But that was the hardest part, was the waiting. And I'm in these robes, a ridiculous costume that's not about Ariel at all. It's literally just about floating down from the ceiling. But I had to hang in a harness in like, who knows how high it was. It was at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in LA. So it could have been, I don't know, 60 feet or something crazy. And you're just up there.
Wait, you're in a pelvis harness.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's not good.
So,
for how long?
Yeah.
It might have been. It probably wasn't a half hour. It probably just felt like that.
Ooh,
but it was a while because just where it was in the show, I had to preset. Like there was, all this other stuff happening. And then I remember watching from above the opera. I felt like I was up there for a really long time. And then you start getting in your head about being really high.
Of course.
And then you start thinking things like, what if these wires just snap? Like you start having those horrible, intrusive thoughts. And
wait, so Mara, were you able to take the tension off your pelvis by like turning upside down?
No. I was in Virgin Mary robes, like from a very heavy costume.
I'm pretty sure OSHA would like not be into this.
I might have had foot loops, but it was so long ago that I don't remember. And I was pretty new to aerial. I don't think I had done many harness jobs, so I was just hanging out up there. Amongst all of the set pieces and the lighting and all of that. It was pretty crazy. So that was really just a mental game. And then I came down and did about one hand gesture. The end. That was the end.
I bet it was the best hand gesture they'd ever seen.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Well,
and
speaking
that's a sensitive area. Ooh,
I know. Like you must have been going numb.
Like
your legs.
Was, but you know what? When you're young and ignorant and
excited,
Ariel, I was like, whatever.
Mare, speaking of, I mean, now that we're getting into it, we could do a whole podcast on presets. The preset in the damn bell.
Oh my God.
The Taylor Swift tour, which I only got to do a couple times because that's the freaking number that I fell and like cracked my ankle open. But the way that they preset in the Taylor tour for this act, it was a bungee loop coming out of a bell.
Yep.
And so the inside of the bell, they preset the aerialist inside and you have your feet on the edges.
And they were big bells. And when you have short legs, you're like in a giant straddle trying to hold yourself
Jesus.
in the bell, and you're pre-wrapped for this jump or this drop that you're going to do out of the bell. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And then it was on a single point, so it's like moving.
Yeah, and the whole gag at the beginning of the number was, Taylor is hitting the bell with a giant mallet.
Yeah. So but only yours, only the one in the middle.
No, they would hit the other ones.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Either she did or the
The dancers.
The backup singers did.
Oh.
But anyway, so then when she hits the bell, you have to generate it, make it look like it's reverberating. So you're bouncing up and down frantically.
Oh, that's funny.
To make it look like it's, boing. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But jumping or dropping out of the bell was definitely the most exhilarating thing.
Totally fun.
Yeah.
I had to have some mental gymnastics with that number in my life.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Whatever you end up hurting yourself doing, you're thinking about that number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And already in itself, because you fall out of the sky and it's so dynamic, it's already kind of a lot,
It's kind of a
mentally.
lot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, okay.
I have a preset.
Yeah.
Story.
Yes.
Kids' Choice Awards.
Nice.
Opening number. We're doing Spanish Web, so it's the rope with the loop on it. And they had us preset. We had a foot loop that we could sit on, but then our hand, because of whatever rules, probably OSHA, we had to have the hand loop on already.
Oh no.
Before being lifted up. And then it was the opening number, but they had to preset us, obviously, before the show starts. So if you imagine, we're sitting on a foot loop, but then our hand is stuck over our head.
Oh,
so
no blood
leaving our arms.
Oh,
and then and it's a really long opening number. So then you have to wait, and then you're lowered and you do 8 counts of 8 of spinning. Then you go back up and then you wait again. Then you come back down, do another 8 counts of 8 of spinning, and then you come down. That in and of itself would have been fine, but we had 5 days of rehearsal, way more rehearsal than we needed for this. And of course, they wanted to see it again and again and again and again. And I even kept switching hands, but basically, one of my thumbs got so numb, there was numbness there for a month. I was afraid I had done some nerve damage, but it came back. Everything was fine, but I was dang, keeping my arm over my head like that. Ouch.
And the blood flow is just so difficult.
Yeah, totally.
And, I think sometimes the preset or the rehearsal period is so often so much more challenging than the actual performance.
Yep.
It's always a setup in some kind of way.
Same with auditions.
Yes, 100%. Crazy.
You're do fouette turns, and then you get to the job, it's step, clap.
Step, touch.
So after people listen to this, they're going to be I don't want to be an aerialist. Why would you want to do this? So I have a couple scary ones, but one of the scary ones I did, I don't know, were you guys on this job with me? Basically, there were 5 white fabrics lined up across this proscenium. It was pretty high. We were 30, 40 feet. And we were doing this. We weren't doing difficult choreography, but we did have a slack drop. And they also gave us costumes. We weren't wearing costumes that we made ourselves or we brought ourselves. They put us in regular corsets. Yeah, you can see where this is going.
Yeah. Yep.
Regular hook and eye corsets. And they didn't fit that well. So they weren't super tight. So basically, long story short, I do the pretty simple slack drop. It's not one of these open slack drops. It was wrap, 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 slack, and then wrap out. Mm-hmm. So the white fabric gets stuck on one of the hook and eyes.
Oh, no.
And tears as I'm slack dropping.
Ugh.
And then as I'm coming out and trying to slide down without dying, the whole fabric tears all the way down that line.
What?
As I'm sliding down to the ground.
What?
I'm not fucking around. And all this happening on stage.
What? I've never seen something like this happen before. Whoa.
It was stuck to me.
Wow.
And so I had the wherewithal to as I'm sliding down, I had my legs wrapped on the side of the fabric that was attached to the ceiling. And then the other side was tearing down that vertical line.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
The fabric was completely destroyed.
And then you had to finish the act, or was that the end?
That was the end of the act, but this was being seen.
Well,
yeah,
terrible.
Your average person maybe wouldn't have noticed. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think it was one of these things where people were watching us that closely. Sometimes you're kind of in the background or whatever. But I was what the fuck just happened? this corset almost killed me.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Nope.
I thought maybe you guys were on that with me, but I guess not.
No, this does not sound familiar.
No, you would have remembered.
Story.
I don't know why I never brought it up. Maybe it's so commonplace for us to have all these effed up stories.
Maybe.
I think it kind of is, yeah.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So, do you guys have a scary one to share?
Yeah.
Oh, Mare, please do tell.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, no one got injured. But, so this was a corporate industrial for a car company. It was the job that Tanya coordinated in Chicago a couple of years ago.
That's right.
And we were doing these big flying sequences, in a harness, again, harness flying. And I mean, do I say the company that rigged it?
No, maybe not.
No? Okay, maybe not. I won't throw them under the bus, even though they still work all the time. Anyway, whatever.
True.
So we had these big fly sequences that were pretty fast, and they would test them with sandbags first before we got into them. And there was one sequence, I don't know, I didn't think that this was possible. I thought when they were programming the automation, I thought there would be some kind of emergency stop or some kind of override if it was just going too fast. Yeah. But apparently, no. And I don't know exactly what happened. I think it was just too fast. And I was supposed to fly quickly across the stage, touch down on the stage and kind of do a spin and then fly again. And I don't know what happened with the cues. I flew across and I did not touch the ground, but I suddenly was yanked the opposite direction. And if you can picture it, then I was swung up, it yanked me so hard. I swung up and was parallel with the light grid, almost hit the light grid.
Oh, geez.
And then I just was swinging until it eventually lost momentum. But I looked like someone took a video of it. I looked like a scarecrow or something, just dead and dangling. And everyone on the ground, the crew, everyone's just staring up at me. No one can do anything about it. So, like I said, thankfully, I did not hit said light grid. And I knew I was in a harness. So I was just hold my body, as strongly as I can. And yep. And so that was that, but it was really terrifying. It's
Did you get an apology?
Moment. Sorry, what?
Did you get an apology?
Well, the director definitely ripped the riggers a new one, and I think might have fired the person doing the automation.
I've got a ragdoll. You had a Meredith ragdoll story. It just reminded me I have a Carrie ragdoll story.
Yeah, look at this. So many stories.
I know. And I hadn't even thought about this one. Before we got on the pod, I was like, okay, I have one story to share. And actually, I have many. So I did this music video, and they wanted to fly me from the top of the cliff and land to the sand where I met my love.
As you do.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. And it was actually it actually won a Latin Grammy or something. It was a great music video. Nice. But as with music videos, they're really tight on time. And so they had two harnesses. One was the hips, and then one was a full torso harness, which they were going to try to use on me first. So they did a sandbag first. And the way this thing worked is they had the crane up on the cliff, and the way they were controlling it was with two dudes.
Okay.
That basically they were just pulling it a little bit and letting me sail down. Okay. So they did it with a sandbag, but the sandbag was 250 pounds.
Oh no.
You are not 250 pounds.
No, I'm 115 pounds, if that.
God.
If that. So they put me in the full torso harness. They yanked me up into the sky.
Oh, geez.
Because the harness was on my entire torso, my legs and my arms just flew upwards.
Oh, geez.
Flew upwards. I know.
Awful.
I never told you guys this story either, right?
No.
Flew upwards and then kind of came down. And then, of course, they caught me way before I landed on the ground. And then the director says to me, that's not what I asked you to do with your arms and legs.
Oh, I can't.
Of course.
I was like,
Of
bitch,
course.
please. Are you going to say, like, do you think that I could control myself?
That's amazing.
So anyways, we did it a couple more times and it got better. But like, until they got the hang of it, like,
the hang of it.
and they were dropping me on sand. Like, I could have broken my ankles or legs if they had done it a little harder. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Because these guys, I'm just like, I mean, I guess they were riggers. And I was, again, young in it. And I hadn't done this very much. And I was trusting them.
Yep. Right. Because it makes sense. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Being willing to trust your riggers. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I don't know how I know that the sandbag was 250 pounds. I think that it got mentioned to me. And I was thinking, I was like, but I'm not 250 pounds. So how's that going to work? So there's that. So we got the ragdoll mare and care.
There seems to be a through line with harness work being the hardest thing to for people to perfect, it seems.
Well, and it's funny though,
It shouldn't
because
be, but-
people, that's the first thing that people do when they don't have experience.
Right.
Oh, that's
Because
true.
you don't have to hold yourself up.
I mean, you do, but
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Sarah, do you have something for us?
I mean, I already told the big scary story. So this is a much milder, kind of funny, maybe scary story. I don't know. But I was performing in Antigua for New Year's Eve, and outdoor big party event. And I'm about to climb up the silk. Well, here's the funny thing. It doesn't even happen in the air. It happens on the ground. But I was about to climb the silk, and then I feel something really hard hit me in the head. And for some reason, in my head, I thought it was the rigging, just because, I don't know. I just feel like I know what the feeling of a steel figure eight is, or I don't know. I was standing right under the rigging. For some reason, I thought it was a piece of rigging. It wasn't. But it hit me, and then I was like, oh, that was weird. And I looked around, and I never found what it was. Something hit me, but I couldn't find it. So then I was about to start climbing, and I was like, oh man, I'm kind of dizzy. So then I sat down, and I kind of like put my hands on my head, and then someone comes over, and they're like, I think you should go backstage. And then I take my hands off my head, and there was blood all over it. Like,
Please do not say that you got hit in the head by a bird.
I don't know.
Because
So,
I would freak out. I hate birds.
I don't know, but you know, if you've ever like nicked your scalp, it bleeds a lot.
Yes. Very dramatic.
So like I go backstage and I look in the mirror and it's just blood. Like it looks like a Halloween makeup
Like you're
situation,
Carrie, right? The movie.
on my totally. And then I like pull out my phone to take a picture, and I feel like I suddenly because then the people in charge were kind of freaking out a little bit. And when they saw me take the picture, I think they thought I was going to like do something with it. And I was like, no, I just want this. I just want this for myself.
Like, I'm not going to sue. Don't worry.
No, it wasn't even like in pain. It looked really bad.
What?
And the funny thing is, we never found out what it was, but like in talking about it later, like when we all kind of flew, because I didn't perform anymore that night, just in case. But when we're flying home all together as a group, people were like, I don't know, it was like this party. I wonder if someone threw like a bottle, maybe, but then I never saw anything. And then someone who like lived there on the island was like, well, you know, the bats are pretty crazy here.
No.
And they're like, those bats can just fly right into you. And I'm like, was I hit by
I don't know why that's more scary to me than a bottle, because a bottle is harder. But
I think baby bats are adorable.
no,
But a big
oh
bat
no.
would be terrifying.
Well, and you didn't hear anything crash on the ground, right? So it wasn't a
I-
bottle.
Didn't.
Oh my God, the only answer is a bat.
The only answer is a bat.
This is terrible.
But the funny thing is, it's funny how like stories become like get created
Yes.
and then retold, and then it totally changes. So I ran into a performer years later, and I don't know. And I mentioned this thing and she's like, oh yeah, you were hit by a bottle. I'm like, huh? No, I wasn't. And she's like, no, I saw you. You were in the air.
What?
You were on the hoop and a bottle flew through the air and it hit you. I'm like, wait, none of those. I was on it was a silk. I wasn't even in the air yet. Okay. You're unreliable.
Oh my God, you're an urban legend.
I was like that. I was like, you're completely unreliable. So she was also like one of the dancers. She was not in the air. And I feel like there might've been some alcohol involved. I'm just saying, I don't think she was a reliable source. I think it was a bat.
I have 2 stories that you guys have told me that I feel like when I heard them, I knew that if I was in that position myself, I would have died a slow death because I cannot swim to save my life. Okay.
Oh dear.
So Mare did a job in Bahrain maybe a year or 2 ago, and the rig was a floating thing on the ocean.
Yep.
And Sarah was doing Cirque de la Mer at Cedar Point in San Diego a couple years in a row, where she had to swim through the bay to get to her fabric and was all wet before she even started. You guys, I would die. Does that stress you out to have to swim, Sarah?
So like, I don't like swimming. And that's the funny thing is everyone made fun of me for being in a water show. And everyone else would like actually swim. Like they would sometimes like put their head underwater and swim. I'm like, oh, no. I am going to doggy paddle with my head held so high and my shoulders out of the water. I am keeping this makeup and hair looking good. I am not getting wet. So I would just sort of like doggy paddle out to the silk. And yeah, like you had to like climb down some rocks and sometimes the water was really cold. Sometimes the weather was super whack and you'd be like standing on the silk and it would just blow parallel to the ground. It was so windy. And sometimes I would be up there and I would look down and I'd see like a sea lion or a stingray. I saw stingrays a couple times below me. What?
Absolutely not.
Survivor silks. It all worked out. Nothing,
and you were doing like a real act. Like it wasn't
drops, like 40-foot silk, long drops. Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was actually, I did 3 summers of it. It was a wonderful show and I really loved being a part of it. But it's just such a funny thing later to be like, whoa, can't believe I did that.
Every time you talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, I would have died before I even got to the silk.
I'm glad I did it though.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, a lot of it. I mean, it's such a great experience.
It does. It's a good story for later.
And Mare's job, Bahrain. So you guys did a bunch of shows a day.
Million shows.
And I remember you telling, and she was on a hoop. And I remember her telling me that by the end of the day, the sand and the salt in her hands on the hoop were so abrasive that you were like having so many issues and the sand and salt water in your costume.
Yep.
Dude.
So similar thing with the wind, the unpredictable weather, all of that. And we were on this floating stage rig kind of thing. And it was a whole, I don't know, half an hour circus show with jugglers and hoopers and then some aerialists. It was a great little show. But it was also the first time this company they had tested sort of a prototype of this floating rig, but it was much smaller. So this bigger one was actually the first time they built it there. They put it together. They shipped all of the equipment and built it in Bahrain. And so it was actually sort of a test run as well for the bigger rig, which was really interesting.
You do not want to be a guinea pig ever.
Yeah. And like they ended up having to anchor it because it would just float away. And there were also riggers / I guess you would call it paddlers. Like they had these, like a paddle boat with your feet, like a bicycle. It had those paddle situations happening to try and rotate it and control this thing. So we also had to, because you would get swung out. Sometimes you'd have a show off, but then you'd still have to be on the boat and paddling. it was so hard. I could barely reach the pedals because I'm short. And it's like so much harder than you think it's going to be to paddle this boat. And anyway, so that was a funny sidebar. But yeah, my hands have never been so ripped up. I had a silks act and a hoop act, but we kind of switched off, and they want to be initially on the hoop. You know, there was someone on a net and then a trapeze, and the layers of skin that were ripped off on my hands, I didn't know what to do. It was so painful, and you can't put a bandage or anything on it. You're in the water. And so I was told by some of the performers to pee on my hand.
Oh,
what? Lies.
Yes.
Ammonia?
They lied to you. What? That's if you get stung by a jellyfish.
I did that shit because I was so desperate and I was in so much pain. And
Did it work?
It did kind of work. Because it helped, I guess, kind of heal it, or I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, ladies and
gentlemen.
gentlemen.
Picture it in the
Meredith peed on her
bathroom.
hand.
This is happening. This is happening before I...
Breaking news on the Expecting Ariels podcast. Meredith has peed on her hands.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
It's like an antiseptic, right?
Yeah. And it actually did make it feel... It stung like crazy, but then it did make it feel better, I have to say. Yeah. And then I ended up...
how far into the gig were your hands the worst? Like, how much more did you have to do?
I don't know. It felt like 8 million, but I still had a lot more. But then I did switch more to silks, but the silks were tricky because it was very windy. But at the end of the day, I was like, whatever, I'd rather be on a silk. My hands are so raw. Mm-hmm. And actually a wet silk is stickier. I was concerned about that. Yeah. And the silk dipping into the water kind of weighed it down. So that was, I made it work. Anyway, the end, I peed on my hands. Yes.
Yeah, wet silks actually isn't that bad.
No.
It seems like it would be slippery, but it's not.
It's worse.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had to really perform on a really wet silk. So that's one thing I haven't had to do. I think I'll have Tanya on at some point, because isn't she the one with the story where she had to perform in sub-0 degrees?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was her. Okay. That story is like a legend in our friend group.
Legend.
It's a legend.
Airy.
It was less than 0 degrees and she had to perform outside. Why would you ever make somebody do that?
You can't feel your hands. That's so dangerous.
I mean,
it's so bad. So the scariest job that I ever did wasn't because anything was actually scary. It was because it was the first job that I did coming back from my accident and the way that it happened. So everybody knows on this podcast, because I've told the story, I broke my leg. It took 2 years. At the end of that 2 years, I got really lucky and I got a phone call from the Motley Crue management, and they're like, we lost our aerialist. We need to replace her. You came highly recommended. Here's a job, which never happens usually.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Although it does happen to some people, and it seems to happen to those people all the time. For everybody else, it doesn't.
I mean,
yeah. So anyways, Motley Crue, it was just kind of like it was the whole vibe of everything. All the riggers are tatted. The whole stage setup, there's a lot like steel spikes like sticking out of the proscenium because it was the way it looked. None of this is unsafe. It was just kind of an intimidating stage. And then, of course, the rig was about 30 feet. And then our silks were shorter because we were above the artists and above the drum kit. So the thing is that because I was taking somebody's spot, when we went out, like, they're all set. They didn't give me a rehearsal, you guys.
Oh, man.
So they didn't give me rehearsal because I was just basically slotted into an already up and running production.
Oh, God.
But the problem is that there's a winch. And I had never tried it before actually doing it.
Oh, no.
And we did it. The first thing was an iron cross. So I was going into my wrists. And I didn't know how it was going to feel. It was fucking terrifying. So all the things...
Lifted up in that position?
Sorry?
Lifted up in that position?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And by the way, by the time I got used to it, it was really fun. Because they also like had us start away from the point. So we swung as we were pulled up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was the start of the show. It was great. It was an arena show. But the first actual performance I ever did since I broke my leg. So everything up until then was just training.
No pressure.
Yeah. So I have my costume on. I go to preset, my arms in the kind of loose, like the knot is just right over my head, the figure 8. And I'm in my, iron cross, ready to be dragged up to the ceiling. Never felt the winch before in my life. And I'd never seen the show. And at the beginning of the show, they have a countdown to us being yanked up, and there's pyro.
Oh, they didn't tell you?
No, they told me, but like,
okay. But you never practiced.
Yeah, I never practiced it. So it's just like all of these things. And then in Australia, which was the first show I ever did for them, they have a huge following in Australia. So if we had smaller shows later on, we did, but this show, 75,000 people.
Dang.
And they were like stomping on the steel band. The whole place was shaking. The stage was shaking. I'm in this iron cross. There's pre-pyro before the big pyro. And it's like just tiny little sparks. And sparks start landing on my silk. I mean, like, I know nothing's going to happen. Like, they all go out eventually.
It's like that cold pyro that it's fine, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's just like simmering on my silk. And like the stage is shaking. And I don't know what this winch feels like. And there's pyro on my silk, and then it starts, and then it's a blur because I'm like, just get through the counts. Just fucking get through the counts. Wow. And I did.
Stressful.
But you guys, I was so scared.
That's so stressful.
Like, it was just like a lot of buildup, Yeah. It was a lot of buildup. Yeah. And, a lot of buildup metaphorically too, because I had not performed in 2 years. So that was like, it was like, okay, just push you in the deep end. But I'm really grateful for it because whatever issues I would have had with being scared in the air later on after falling, I worked it out during that tour. Because by the time I was done that tour, I'm not scared anymore, obviously.
Kind of baptism by fire.
Yeah, basically.
Do it that way, yeah.
Basically. And I'm glad for it now because it was quick. It was like 3 months later, I'm like, there's no reason to be scared.
You must have felt so accomplished after that.
Oh, yeah. So accomplished. Yeah.
Mental game. It's the mental game. So much more. I mean, obviously the physical is important, but the mental adaptiveness and strength and awareness that you have to have on these jobs where you're always plunged into some kind of unexpected or crazy environment. I don't know. And
you don't think that, you go into it, you're thinking, okay, what else could go wrong? And you're always surprised. Like, even if it's on the other end and it's like less height, like Tanya talked about all the time she would do that gig at the Sayers Club after I performed there. There's like a hammock and there's maybe like 6 feet of, like, you're basically banging into everything. You're banging into the walls, you're banging into the floor, you're banging into the ceiling. And it's like, there's no space and you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys, it's fun. Have we scared everybody out of this entire profession?
Yeah, can we think of any jobs where it's been the world's most perfect setup, where you feel perfectly good?
No, I mean, I think only training feels like that. Where it's like, it's your own space. You know exactly what to expect. Sarah, when you were doing Radio City, which year was it that you were like you were just sick? I think you were nauseous one time. Like you were sick.
I'm pretty sure it was my partner who was nauseated.
Oh no.
And I mean, speaking of riggers, you guys, you go to New York and these guys, they don't mess around. They're tough dudes. And, we were starting up on like the 5th floor, I don't know, or something. This grid where like all the riggers would hang out and they were all tough guys from Long Island.
Of course.
And so, my partner one day felt really sick. And I just remember, I think he made the mistake of mentioning it while we were up there, but right before we went out. So then the whole time we're performing, anytime I looked past him to the riggers off to the side on the grig, they were going, "Huh, huh," and trying to get him to throw up.
So he was just trying to hold it in the whole time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was fine. Everything worked out. But it was just, I just love this. Like, you cannot show weakness in front of, especially if you're a dude, you cannot show weakness in front of those guys.
Oh my God.
Oh, man. But no, that show was amazing. Incredible.
I got to see you in that show. I feel very lucky because
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to New York for one of the Christmases that you were doing it, and I just wanted to see my friends in New York, and it was like, you guys, back when we used to travel
I know.
for fun.
Silence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was like, that theater and just the way that they run things, it's like the epitome of professionalism.
Yes,
I have so much respect for how things are run there. And I remember being 13 years old, going to dance competitions, and my dance studio brought me to New York, my very first time in New York. It might have been my first time on a plane. I don't know. But we totally toured Radio City. So I have these pictures of me as a kid, in Radio City and meeting a Rockette. And I would have
know that, Sarah. That's great.
And I would have never guessed that all those years later, I'd be performing in that iconic theater, above the Rockettes. It was a dream. And I got to do two. I got to do the Christmas show, and then there was one year that there was a spring show that we did. So yeah, I feel that was one of those dream jobs for sure.
Yes.
No complaints on the rigging. The riggers had their personalities, but it was great.
But they had their shit together.
They knew what they were doing for sure.
Mare, do you have any story to close out the roundup?
Well, I was thinking about your story, Care, reminded me when you said you didn't have rehearsal or anything like that. I was reminded of working on The Masked Singer, the first season. I worked on an episode of that, and it was so chaotic. The choreographers called us Team Change because the creative was constantly changing. And so we were dancing and doing aerial. I broke my foot on that job. So I had a fat broken foot that I had to stuff into heels to dance in. But Shannon and I were doing a hoop act, and we also never got rehearsal.
Wait, back up. When did you break your foot? I'm so confused.
In rehearsal, one of the first days of rehearsal, doing a lift with my partner early in the morning. They were like, show us the lift. And I cracked my foot, top of my foot on the stage. And
did you actually get an x-ray? Do you know what happened?
Oh, yes. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone that it was an actual fracture. I was like, oh, it's fine. But I had to do the whole workers' comp situation. They knew that I injured it. And luckily, I was doing aerial as well as dance. I was not doing a ton of dancing in the episode. And we were going to be doing more dancing, but then they cut it because, again, team change constantly. So, but I still had to stuff that fat, swollen, broken biscuit into a heel.
I'm sure it did not look like a biscuit.
Oh, I'm sure it felt like a biscuit.
It felt horrible.
Oh.
But yeah, so we had two aerial moments in the show, which were really cool. I don't know if you've seen the TV show. They have big giant masks as part of the set. And we were in harnesses, and we got to, hang on the masks and play with them. And that was really fun. And we actually did get a little bit of rehearsal for that. But for the hoop number, Shannon and I completely choreographed it on the ground. And they spray painted our hoops silver. So when we did practice them, we were covered with silver paint. And the very first time we did it the very first time we ran it was the camera rehearsal, dress rehearsal. Boom.
Of course.
Just crazy. It's just, yeah. But luckily we made it happen, and people are none the wiser. They have no idea how, you would think something as risky as aerial, they would want to take the time to do all the checks and balances. Nope. It's TV. You got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and the nature of the show, everyone is masked. It was back when before masks were all the rage. And
good time.
We had these helmets they were like space masks that we ditched halfway through the number before we went up into the air. It was really funny. Just flung them off stage. Just crazy.
You know, all this makes me think, like, every single time I lecture my students, which is a lot, they hear a lot of lectures from me 6 days a week. Like, if you don't really know your stuff backwards and forwards, you're so screwed, because that's the last thing you're thinking about when you're there.
100%.
Also, being able to have the knowledge to self-advocate. And the experience to self-advocate. Really important.
Yeah, because I mean, directors will be like, I mean, I was a choreographer on the job, but a director said to me, "Can you have everybody hang by their necks for like 10 minutes?" And I was like, "Can you hang from your neck for 10 minutes?"
Wow.
And, you know, it's because they're thinking from an art direction standpoint. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not realistic if you even thinking about it from like a common sense standpoint. But it got pushed back like 3 times, and I got paid every single time it got pushed back. So, happy. So it was great. Anyways, thank you guys. I hope it was interesting for people.
Yes.
Oh, we had fun.
Oh, yeah.
Memory lane.
Yeah. And now that we're doing this, I'm pretty sure that we could probably go for about 3 more hours, because now that we're talking, I'm like, oh, yeah, that time. Like, Mara, that time you were a mermaid.
Yeah,
I know. I was thinking about that too. And we were talking about the
harnesses, like hashtag crotch.
When we were literally wheeled out in wheelchairs with the mermaid tail on.
What? I didn't know there were wheelchairs involved.
Like, because we had to get in, it was such an operation getting into these tails. We had to be in our harnesses and then the tails.
Oh my God.
And then, so instead of being carried out, they wheeled us in wheelchairs.
That's funny.
Right, because
they can't walk. They're fish, so you have to wheel them out.
But then, weren't you like on bicycle seats or something?
Oh my God.
As well?
Yes. And it was a green screen shoot, and we all had terrible, like one girl, her pubic bone, like her whole, basically, vagina went numb because all of your weight, we were sort of balanced on these bicycle seats. We were perched because we needed to do this swivel choreography. It was on a green screen, so there was someone operating this seat. And so it was a very strange, awkward perch that, you know, your legs are jammed together in a harness, completely unnatural, and then balancing on this bicycle seat. Yeah.
Wow.
But the best part of that was that I saw the so I was out in Tokyo with Mare 2 years ago. Oh my God, when we used to do things.
I know.
And this whole thing is on CG in, you know, The Little Mermaid in the actual Tokyo Disney. And you can see her singing the song. What is that song, Mare?
Daughters of Triton.
Daughters of Triton.
In Japanese.
And it was so cute. I giggled the whole time. I was like, Mare, hashtag, it was worth it.
Oh, it totally was worth it. It was totally worth it. And it continues to play. And the live performers in that show are just incredible. It's just, that whole operation it's pure magic. It's total Disney magic. And I'm so happy that I got to do it. But yeah, the shoot was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking. You were telling us, I mean, just having to wiggle and then your pubic bone being balanced there, like the bruising. Okay, and then the last thing before we go, because now I'm remembering Wendy and Peter Pan, because Mare is freaking Wendy of Peter Pan. And
Test Wendy.
Wendy. And she was like helping to choreograph and train the aerialists doing the parade in Tokyo Disney on a single point, 2 harnesses, right?
Yeah. 2 harnesses on one
and
point.
It's moving because it's parade.
Talk about magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And again, just like the bicycle seat thing, that was the first time they had done it. And this whole rigging situation on the float was also a brand new invention. And it was ingenious because Peter Pan and Wendy could float around each other. It was very much like ballroom dancing in the air. And it was so much fun to get to workshop it and then help the performers. And most of these performers were dancers and had never flown before. So it was pretty cool. But I have to say, testing it for the first time, flying outside on a moving float, you feel like you're really flying. Like it was pretty
cool.
rad. Pretty rad.
Man, you're like that Disney person. You're like, if you guys can't imagine Mare, she's got this wavy blonde hair, big eyes with lashes, just so pretty.
Oh,
like, but she's like looks Disney. She looks like Disney, like just threw up on her face. Disney.
Thank you.
In a good way.
Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you, Disney. Keep hiring me. I love you forever. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know. The industry decides your brand.
This is
apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. Oh my God, Sarah. This podcast is going to be 18 hours long because we haven't gotten to your ice skates.
Oh my God.
How did we not? Okay, we'll close out with your ice skates.
Yes,
Please tell us about the chain act with ice skates and the bungee act with ice skates, because we were all like with our jaws open.
So the show that I did right before the pandemic started was Axel. It was like a Cirque du Soleil ice show that was touring, and it was an ice show. I don't know how to ice skate. Do I know how to ice skate? I don't know how to ice skate.
Now you do.
I mean, actually, I really like ice skating now. I'm not going to pretend that I'm good at it, but I'm much more comfortable. But yeah, so we did 2 aerial acts in ice skates. One was the chains and one was the bungee. I definitely was in ice skates the whole time for the bungee act. For chains, they ended up putting me in a softer shoe at one point, but I definitely did all the training in the ice skates and stuff. But yeah, man, they're like heavy. They're big weights on your feet. You have knives on your feet. And it totally changes your center of gravity, your balance. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. And the costumes we had to wear for the chain act they were so thick, which they had to be. And they were so hard to put on every show. It was like, each leg and then your body.
I mean, you're basically wearing like diving gear.
Like kind of, yeah. Like almost like a really thick sort of neoprene. And then you're so sweaty. And and the chain, that was also like on a winch moving forward.
Well, and it's a single chain, so it's not a loop.
It was a single chain, and I was moving from upstage to downstage and then back again. So there's also a little bit of sway.
Oh my God.
We did like a double shooting star on the chain. I would say that was probably the hardest trick. And I figured it out. I figured out how to keep the chain from hitting my head, but it took a few tries.
So you have knives on your feet.
Yeah.
You're doing a double shooting. By the way, for all my students out there who ask me why it's important to line up correctly before you get to the actual star part of the shooting star,
because you never know if you'll have chains and knives surrounding you.
Because people would get concussions. You would call us or like video chat us, and we'd be like, "Oh, another one down from a concussion."
But not me.
Yep,
I have a hard head.
And a bat hit her, and she survived.
I was hit by a bat. Oh, yeah. And then the bungee, actually for bungees, I actually didn't mind the ice skates because sometimes that little bit of extra weight kind of helped, strangely. But it did, I talked about this before, it just was very hard on the abs when I was first.
Right, because you're straddling up in a tight neoprene suit with skates on it's like wearing 5-pound weights on your ankles.
But, my body got used to it, and it was a perfect way to, like, get in as good a shape as possible right before getting pregnant. And from the chains also, I had these marks, even with that that thick costume and extra padding that I added. I had these pinches and bruises on my legs that I thought were never going to go away. It took months. They're finally gone.
Well, and what does that even feel like to be wrapped at the top of a double shooting star in chains? Like, that just sounds terrible.
The costume helped. The costume definitely helped. And then knowing how to keep the chain as far away from my head as possible while doing the drop helped. And then I actually didn't mind it. But yeah, that's another one of those, like, it's just so funny because my whole aerial life, I train like silks and hammock and hoop. And like, I have these it's, things that I consider myself a specialist at. And then what am I hired for?
Yep.
Jane. And I had done bungee before, but I'd never performed it. And I was not an ice skater. So it's like, let's take 3 things that I am not that comfortable with. And like,
well, and you were brought in like after the fact, they had already started. So you're kind of already, you had to play catch up, which sucks too.
Yeah.
But and then also most chains are loops. This was, for all you listeners out there, like a rope.
Mm-hmm.
So were you wearing gloves? You had to.
Oh yeah, we wore gloves. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like doing aerial with gloves, but you had to.
Right.
And then I would like spray them too, because sometimes the chain would feel a little slippery.
Right. Because it's condensation.
Can we throw at these poor people?
And we're over ice. And yeah that's like, what? And before the bungee, we had to ice skate out really quickly right before the bungee started. But because I was also late to the game on my ice skate training, they ended up having one of the professional ice skaters skate me out.
Well, and push you.
Well, we were like linked elbow to elbow, so it kind of looked like, we're just like a cute little like couple skating across. But really, he was trying to get me out there as fast as possible. And part of the bungee act, there was also some double stuff where he would be on the ground and like grab my feet with the skates and pull me, so I would slingshot up and then flip, and then we would grab hand to hand. But I had to be careful because he has knives flying towards his face.
Oh my God.
So, but again, it all worked out.
It's amazing though. Just a testament to your professionalism and just adapting and making it work. Like, that's amazing.
I think I stayed pretty calm considering. I think I could have gotten real stressed out if I let myself.
I was stressed out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like hearing this, I was like at home, like chewing on my nails, like, what the Sarah?
Yeah. But but again, it's kind of one of those things, kind of like what you're saying with the Motley Crue tour. It felt like baptism by fire as well. And I felt very accomplished by the end of my 6 months with the show. I felt like, okay, I did that. I feel good. It was I had done like one of Cirque's like charity benefit shows before, but I hadn't done like one of their, full productions. So it was like, all right, first Cirque du Soleil production, and all these crazy things were thrown at me and made it work. So,
yes, I love that.
Yeah, it was fun. But not going back, because now I have a baby and touring is hard. In a different city every week. Oh, yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. I'm good. I had that experience. I'm like, okay, file that away.
Well, except for Meredith, the joke. Well, there's 7 of us in our friend group, and we used to be 7 and now we're 13, because everybody except for Mare, because Mare's a different place in her life. We've all had babies in the last 3 years.
There's a worldwide baby tribe.
And the next time I have Mare on the pod, we're going to talk about her new adventures. We'll do it later.
Mary, you're already locked in for more episodes.
I'm really excited.
And I'm repping the non-moms on the Expecting Aerialist.
I love it.
I kind of feel like, so for the listeners out there, it's like Dr. Emily Sherb would have been on the week before, and then I'm doing myofascia release with Gail Steffens, and then we've got Christina Nikaya with flexibility training. Like, it's so
nice.
It's so good, but it's so much information.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I can't even do this myself. I need it to be lighter.
It's like palate cleanser.
Yeah. A little palate cleanser. I'm going to put it in between and it's going to be great. And Sarah, I love having you on, and we'll just pick another topic. Maybe
3 times.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
maybe
fun.
We'll do you and Tanya next time to tell some of her stories. And Tanya, we talk about her all the time because she's not older in age than any of us, but I think she's the one we all go to.
She's been in the industry so long.
Yeah.
She was my first aerial teacher. She was my main coach.
One of my first. Yeah.
She was the one who got me on my first jobs. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
same.
Yeah. And T was that person for them. And then Rach and Sarah were that person for me. We're all around the same age. She's just been in it so long. And She's the one everybody goes to. Like, the amount of times I solo video chat her to be like, what would you do in this situation?
Aww.
And she became a mom before the rest of you guys too.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So she's like the
Mary in
one.
a coal mine.
You know?
She's the trailblazer.
Yeah. So thanks, Mare and Sarah. Mare, where can they find you on Instagram? What's your handle?
At Mare Ostrowsky. Yeah,
Cool.
I know it's a lot.
It's okay.
Rowsky.
Cool. And once again, Sarah is just at Sarah Romanowsky.
Yes,
And
the
you
skis. The two of us are the skis.
Yes. And I'm just impressed because I've figured out how to say your name so well over time. Like, I think it was a struggle for me years ago. Thanks so much to Sarah and Meredith for being here. And don't forget to go to the show notes today, click that link, and reserve your free ebook. Thanks to Asa Watkins for music and post-production. You can always find me at carrie@wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com via email. And please honor me with a 5-star rating and a review anywhere you get your podcasts so this community can more easily find me. Thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to the Expecting Aerialist podcast.